So Eric Gordon in his second stint with the Clippers has been exceeding expectations, and some might even say he's been surprising as he's been such a great pickup for this team. The things he brings to this team are pretty valuable as he's a vet that has a ton of experience in the playoffs, and even having some skill sets in his game that complement what the Clippers need him to do. He's essentially the X factor off the bench, and if the Clippers want to succeed, they'll need him to produce off the bench. I mean, basically, he's been more of a six-man type of guy for his career, and that's what they really need him to do for the Clippers. I mean, bringing a spark plug off the bench in Eric Gordon, someone that can be a good playmaker at times, someone that can play some great defense, and even be an on-ball guy some plays. I mean, he's basically what the Clippers need, and, in today's video, I'll be talking about how great Gordon has been with the Clippers, and some expectations for him going into the second half of the season. So, in the 2 games with the Clippers, Gordon is averaging around 10 points per game, around 2 rebounds, and around 5 assists per game on 33, 38, and 88 shooting splits with the Clippers. So, obviously, he isn't shooting that great for the Clippers in terms of field goal percentages, but in terms of three-point and free throw percentages, he's looking pretty good. And overall this season, he's putting up around 13 points per game, 2 rebounds, and around 3 assists on 44, 35, and 82 shooting splits. His season averages are pretty good for a role player. Previously, he was playing with the Houston Rockets, and he was getting that starting small forward position, so he got a lot of run in that Stephen Silas system. And I would say for the most part, he definitely was heating up at the end of his tenure with the Houston Rockets, and that's a great thing to see. I mean, he's going to be riding the hot hand, and he definitely has been since coming to the Clippers. Now, going into his impact on the team, I mean, it's pretty massive in terms of what he's able to do in his limited minutes off the bench. I think he definitely provides a lot on what they need to do. First and foremost, I mean, on both sides of the floor, he's really great, and we'll talk about his offensive game here pretty quickly. So, last night against the Phoenix Suns, I mean, we saw glimpses of what he's capable of this season, and I think the Phoenix Suns game was definitely a huge example of what he's able to do, which is great because, I mean, it's pretty much giving a sign that he's settling into the swing of things on the Clippers and kind of just meshing with the team already pretty quickly here. So he provides three-point shooting while also being able to handle the ball sometimes and even being a pretty underrated defender. Gordon, he's always been more of an underrated defender and a passer in his career. I mean, looking back at teams he played with before, even with the Houston Rockets, he's been there for a while. He had guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook pretty much dominating the ball, Chris Paul. Going back to those type of days and even going back to New Orleans, I mean, he never really got a team to really thrive on. But now getting into more of where he's at right now in his career, he's more of a six-man type of guy, and that's really what he's been able to do most of his career and what he's going to be able to do on the Clippers. So he also provides some veteran experience in the playoffs and can knock down shots in the clutch. I mean, he's been basically a guy that can score in the fourth quarter and a guy that can score in bunches. Scoring the ball is really Gordon's strong suit, as he can drop double-digit games at any minute if you need him to. And obviously with his game and his archetype, I would say that he's going to be a guy coming into the fourth quarter that can heat up and, make some threes, make some shots, and, sub him out pretty quickly, and then, have your guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard come in. So looking at some concerns with his game, the biggest thing I have for Gordon is his consistency. He really relies putting the ball in the bucket, especially from 3, and if his shots aren't falling, it's pretty much hard for him to have an impact on offense. I mean, he is an underrated defender, like I said, so he isn't really a liability on defense, but really just his consistency on offense is the one thing I'm concerned about in his game. So overall, Gordon has been a pretty great pickup for this team, and honestly, I expect him to trend upwards in terms of playing time and usage. I would say maybe around the end of the season where he's going to be starting to get some more some more playing time. I mean, he's going to be hopefully playoff ready by the time the end of the season comes around, so he's going to be a crucial piece for this team in the playoffs, a guy that can knock down threes, like I said. But, I mean, he's been probably one of their most important role players off the bench. I know guys like Mason Plumlee. I know he's been a pretty good pickup for this team, too. And guys like Nick Batum being a defensive god. And even Terrence Mann being able to slot into the starting point guard position. I mean, I'll talk about all these guys in a later video, but, I mean, Eric Gordon, he's just been a pretty underrated piece for this Clippers team, and I think the Clippers overall had a pretty underrated trade deadline. If you guys want to check out the trade deadline video I made about the Clippers, you guys can check it on the channel, but, I mean, like I said, all 3 of these pickups, Bones, Mason, and Eric Gordon, all 3 of these guys have been pretty underrated pickups. You guys can let me know What are you guys think about Eric Gordon? You guys think he's going to be here for the long term? Hopefully he is. I mean, he is around 34 years old, so he is on the older side of things, but I think his veteran experience is definitely the thing that this Clipper team needs. And if they want to contend, they're going to need a guy like him off the bench. So that's the end. My name is JC, and I'm out.